Hello everyone, my name is Webweaver, and I just found out this game has a MIDI folder, and you can hit custom MIDI and then it plays this song. You can also probably enter your own songs into this game as well. I don't know if they have to be MIDI files, or you could just put anything in there. It'd be pretty funny to put some anime openings in there, get yourself a playlist. But I got an achievement for creating custom music. Listen, for copyright purposes, this is not custom music that I created. This is just the default that the game had. So, you know, I don't feel like I deserve the achievement for making my own custom MIDI music. I don't think I earned that, because this is not custom MIDI music that I made. This was just in the options menu. But with that being said, this game is always too loud every single time I turn it on, and I just keep turning the audio settings down more and more and more, and it doesn't even feel like it's doing anything, but here we are. We're on Arc Night mode, of course. I was thinking about going in on night mode just so that we could make some progress, but the real progress is the banner that we made along the way, so the siren song didn't tempt me for very long. Like, ooh, we get a checkpoint as long as we're still playing, but once we quit the game, we have to start over from scratch. Like Arc Night mode, but you have unlimited lives, but you don't save your progress. Oh, wow. Ooh, hello there, rocks, my friends. I haven't played this game in a while. I do admit, you know, Dawn Trail kind of came out, and listen, we've talked about Dawn Trail a lot in this series, and we will continue to do so because it is the next 2 years of game-related anecdotes and banter. But, you know, it's time to get a little controversial because this is Knight's Try, you know? This is when banter is free-flowing stream of consciousness. So let's talk about toxicity, specifically me. So I've been doing Savage and Party Finder recently, and I talked a little bit about this. That's doing a little bit is doing a lot of, compared to everything else that I've talked about on World of Horror. Yeah, we're a little bit. But, hold on, gotta lock in. This part's scary. This part's a little freaky and frightening. Uh-oh. How unfortunate. Uh-oh. How unfortunate. I don't remember the rest of the lines. I gotta go through the FNAF series again. It's really good. Probably shouldn't surprise you that I'm a big FNAF fan. But, so, I've been going into Party Finder a lot recently, and I've been getting a little toxic. I've been getting a little tilted. I've been getting a little upset, and the thing is, I think it has to do with setting expectations, right? So when I'm progging with friends, I'm there for my friends, right? So not a second is being wasted because my friends are there. Love me, friends. But when I'm progging with random people, I'm most likely not gonna see these people again, and even if I do, you know, it might not be a good thing that I'm seeing them again, because I might not like them. Like, I remember one of the people that I've seen several times through doing EXs, I'm not going to say their name, obviously, but there was this guy who we were just hanging out in an EX2 party. I need to do a video for EX2. I need to clear that fight more, because I only cleared it a few times to get my accessories on Picto, mancer, and that was it. But there was a guy who joined, and we all, you know, we did the stock standard greeting of, like, waving, and some people said hello, etc., etc. But they responded with the most whack-ass thing, which it's not necessarily wrong to say, it's just an incredibly strange greeting. But their reasoning for it was not the best. So about like 3 or 4 people waved hello, and we all said hi. I asked them how they were doing, and they responded with, "I'm depressed, LOL." And then they immediately followed it up with, I wanted to break up the waves and hellos. And I was like, huh? Like, here's the thing. You can talk about, like, I don't want to discourage anybody from talking about, like, any stuff that they might be going through, you know? It's important to be honest with yourself about your mental health, and it's important to not be ashamed about that either, because, you know, it's your mental health, it's important, right? It's very important. Now, you might think that where I'm going with this is there's a time and a place, yada, yada, yada. Here's the thing. Sometimes your mental health doesn't care about a time or a place. And so, you know, saying that is a little, you know, a little bit odd to say when you join a party finder for EX2, but it's not really, like, immediately a red flag. The red flag was what they immediately followed it up with, which was, I wanted to break up the hellos and the waves. That was weird, because what's wrong with the standardized basic greeting? Like, if you're cynical, sure. You know, you might be like, oh, they're just doing that out of formality. They're not actually asking me how my day is going. You know, I remember edgelords on, like, iFunny would be like, when someone asks you how your day is going, respond with waffles and look at how confused they are. So I could see, like, something like that, you know, where somebody's like, okay, I'm, like, just gonna say something wacky or weird because I don't believe in these, like, you know, greetings or whatever. I think that's a little cynical, and I think that there's nothing wrong with greeting somebody. And personally, for me, I think it's a big red flag if I join a party finder and nobody says anything. Whoops. Return of the King. Homie is back. I think it's a big red flag, honestly. I definitely think, like, if I join a party finder and nobody says anything, I think that's a red flag, because to me, that's, like, either a pre-made group that doesn't care to include you in anything, and they're not gonna communicate with you at all, or it's just a group that is just, like, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but I think being weird about, like, a basic greeting that everybody does, like, I can understand thinking, like, I can understand being cynical about it, right? I can understand, like, okay, this is a basic greeting, everybody just does it by impulse, and that one guy asked me how I was doing. They don't really care about how I'm doing. They're just saying that out of, like, you know, trying to be polite. Are we going faster than we normally are? I feel like we're going way faster than we normally are. But a new tech discovered? Like momentum falling tech? I don't know. I feel like we're going way faster. But anyways, you know, I think, like, there is not really, like, an expected societal norm about these things, because, you know, it's just a party finder, it doesn't really matter. You can say whatever the hell you want. I don't really care. Oh, I can't hear the, oh my god. I bumped my head on a block. I found a hidden block in Mario. That's what I found right there. But, yeah, no, I feel like I kind of lost my train of thought, but I saw that person multiple times, and that was, like, that initial greeting interaction was not necessarily, like, a red flag. Well, okay, it was like a yellow flag. Like, I can see, like, a cynical 16-year-old saying something like that, because I was seeing cynical 16-year-olds say things like that on iFunny. I tripped, kicked somebody in the head, tripped on their skull. Happens to the best of us. But what happened is we had 3 ranged in our party, and they took the physical melee spot, right? And they were playing Pictomancer, which is important. So they were playing Pictomancer, and in EX2, there's a conga line mechanic. And the thing is, people in Party Finder typically do not mechanically understand things. They understand that there is a mechanic, and Hector says to do it one way. Oh my god, oh my god. And Hector says to do it one way, so they do it that one way, and that's, you know, it. That's the extent of the average person in Party Finder's knowledge about this sort of thing. And so we were in a situation where the conga line mechanic, basically how it works is everybody who's alive gets a debuff that when a traveling line hits them, and you can't dodge this line, you have to get hit by this line if you're alive. The only way to dodge it is not being alive. When you get hit by it, you get a vulnerability, so if you get hit again, you're gonna die, and your debuff makes you explode, and it's a shared damage stack. Oh, hold on, gotta lock in. Beautiful. Perfect cycle. And so, how you're supposed to solve it is you are supposed to essentially take a nice little... We can change the music? Huh. Anyways. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I just think it's fun. I like jumping. What can I say? So, basically, we had 3 casters, and there's the conga line. And everybody gets a debuff. And the debuff is a shared damage AoE, meaning that it does less damage the more people get hit by it, and everybody has this. And the shared damage AoE gives everybody who gets hit by it a vulnerability, so if you get hit again, you're guaranteed to die. So how you solve it is you have everybody go in a conga line that is spaced apart because the vulnerability lasts for 2 seconds. So essentially how it works is you have people who are about like 2.5, 3 seconds apart for like the sake of, you know, they're close enough to soak the damage, but they're not close enough to trigger the explosion too early, which would cause a wipe, you know, or them to die. As long as your healers live, which they're not going to live alone, they need people to stack with them, but as long as your healers live, it's not going to be a wipe. And listen, the Enrage is not that big of a deal, so it's entirely possible that you just kind of, like, nail it, even if you have deaths. So it's not really a big deal, you know what I mean? Oh, I touched it early. You gotta be careful not to do that. But essentially, you have people evenly spaced out so they get hit one at a time, right? Not a big deal. Pretty simple. Now, what you are encouraged to do... Whoops, I tried to jump there, but I was feeling a little tired. I didn't want to jump. There we go. Look at that. So what you're encouraged to do, for the purposes of, you know... let's wait for a different cycle here. Okay, there we go. So what you're encouraged to do is, because it's a shared damage AoE, after you get hit, you can move. Whoops, sorry, I tripped over the pressure plate, you know, happens to the best of us. So you're encouraged to move along. But you only need a few people in the shared damage stack. So you don't need the whole party, right? So if you want to, for whatever reason, you don't actually have to move, because as long as the 2 tanks are following along the party, it'll make the healing a little rough, but you don't actually have to move, right? Whoops. There's a cooldown on your jump, so you can't jump immediately when you land. You have to wait like a second before you can jump again, you know, It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, you know? It's like a whole game mechanic. It's like a, yeah, it's like a whole game mechanic, you know? It's like the central premise of how the game functions on like a mechanical level. Right, so this is difficult. So with the conga line thing, right? Oh, I jumped into it. I thought I could jump over it and to the right. Whoops. So, if you're a caster, you don't have to move, especially because even if you're taking the fake melee spot, like this guy was, right? Even if you're taking the fake melee spot, at that point, all of the healers, or at least like one of the healers, both of the tanks, the other melee, you have about 4 people who are already going to be in every shared AoE. The healing's not that bad. So, you don't actually have to move. You could just stay completely still, if you really wanted to. Now, Homie is playing a Pictomancer. Now, for those of you who don't know, Pictomancer has multiple things, and I have done that fight as a Pictomancer. So I know this for a fact, that Homie's complaints that ended up happening were not valid in the slightest. But basically, Pictomancer has a few things like Holy in White, Comet in Black, Hammer Time, and during their burst phase, you have Starry Muse, or Starry Prism? Yeah, Starry Prism. Starry Muse is like, or Starry Landscape Muse is your whatchamacallit, right? Your Landscape Muse. But yeah, basically, the abilities that I just listed are instant cast, meaning that you press the button, the animation plays, because instant cast skills are not instant. The animation plays immediately, and then the ability goes off, right? So what that means is you can cast them and move at the same time. So you have a lot of movement as Pictomancer, and Pictomancer, unlike other jobs, is very freeform, because they give you... So, how most jobs work, thank you, Heaven, is you have a rotation, burst, and your opener. And then you have some jobs, like healers, have filler, where basically the idea is that every 2 minutes, everyone's raid buffs and most powerful abilities are off cooldown. And so everyone is using their most powerful abilities, and everyone is using all of their damage buffs. So everybody is doing the most amount of damage possible during a brief window, right? So you have your, like, rotation, which you do just sort of like as filler in between the 2-minute burst windows, and then you have your 2-minute burst window where you go crazy, bro. You go insane, sister. You go goblin mode, friend. Thank you, Heaven. Friendly angel in heaven allowing me to die midair so that I can get back to the checkpoint faster. You're gonna have to excuse me. I haven't played this game in 80 years, so I'm a little rusty. But the thing about Pictomancer is that they give you so many tools that you actually don't have enough time in your burst window to use all of the tools that the game gives you, right? So you have more abilities than you can fit in your burst window, so you need to use them, like, optimally, but you also have a lot of wiggle room, and you have a lot of, like, okay, I can do this here instead of that. It's a very, as far as jobs go in Final Fantasy XIV, it is probably the most free-form balling job to where you can actually perform at a good level. It is designed to allow you to adapt to the current situation that you're in, whether or not you can stand still or just wiggle around, or you need a lot of movement. Now, technically speaking, Holy in White is a DPS loss if you can do literally anything else. However, ain't never happened to me before in my life, bro. Sister, I've never seen that before. Non-binary pal, ain't never happened to me. I wouldn't know a thing about what just happened, about my death. But Holy in White can be a gain on DPS if you don't have anything else and the boss is about to die, right? Like, if the boss is about to die, you don't have Hammer, you don't have a Cyan, Yellow, Magenta, you don't have Comet, you don't have any of your creature motifs. If the boss is about to die and you literally have nothing, you can dump... You can spam Holy in White, and that is a damage gain, because it does the damage of water and blue, right? But without building meter, or giving you, like, combo actions. So it's pretty shitty, but, like, it's also, like, not terrible, and if you literally have no other options, it's a DPS gain, right? Holy in White is not as bad as I think... I don't know what people initially thought about it, I'll be honest with you. But when I first heard that Holy in White was a damage loss, I was like, oh yeah, that kind of sucks. Uh-oh. I'm making this harder for myself for no reason. Uh-oh, how unfortunate. Ooh. But here's the thing. On EX2, your damage does not matter that much to where, like, you using Holy in White in an unoptimal way to where you're losing, like, what is it, 0.6% DPS? I don't remember the exact number, but, like, using Holy in White is not going to cause your group to lose the fight, and also, you are not playing at a level where you're, like, going for a gold parse, you know? Like, you're not at that level to where Holy in White not being optimal matters. You're on an EX2, and you're on a learning to clear party for EX2, so it literally does not matter in the slightest at all. If you need to use Holy in White or want to use Holy in White, you can. Also, fun fact, if you're playing Picto Mancer like me, you do not need to worry about overcapping Holy in White. You can overcap it. It's completely fine to sit on as many stacks of Holy in White as you want. Obviously, you need to make sure you don't accidentally overwrite Comet in Black. You need to use Comet in Black every single time you have it up because it's, like, ridiculously powerful. And it's a small DPS gain to do a 2 Comet in Black burst phase. Like, if you go into your burst phase with a Comet in Black, and then you use your free subtractive palette to get another Comet in Black, then in that case, it's like a small DPS game. It's not necessary. But Pictomancer is super versatile, and you have all of the movement tools you could ever want as a caster that's not Summoner. Because obviously Summoner is a caster in name only. Because you cast less than a Samurai does. You cast like once every... What is it? You cast your Ifrit abilities and your Garuda AoE. That's it, right? Everything else is instant cast, so like Samurai casts more often than Summoner does. But we're getting a little off track. But here's the next thing, right? Pictomancer is also insanely overtuned. Like, I am somebody who's quickly becoming a Pictomancer main. It's the first DPS that I've, like, truly fallen in love with, besides, like, Reaper, but, like, I don't want to play Reaper optimally. I want to play Pictomancer optimally, but I don't want to play Reaper optimally. I love Pictomancer. So this is somebody who loves Pictomancer. I am Pictomancer's, not #1 soldier, but I am a big fan of Pictomancer. It's probably my second favorite job in the game, easily. And honestly, It's kind of getting there over White Mage. Like, I really love playing White Mage, but Pictomancer is just whimsy and joy. It's the image of the dolphin jumping out of the ocean with a rainbow in the background. That's what Pictomancer is. That's what Pictomancer feels like. But here's the thing. So let's say you're a Pictomancer and you're like, I don't want to use Holy and White for movement, because that's not optimal. I'll lose damage. Here's the thing. Pictomancer is so insanely overtuned, it out-DPSs everything else in the game significantly, to the point where they had to, in this most recent patch, buff, like, every melee in the game to make them, like, comparable to Pictomancer. And at least at the time of recording this, the highest damage parse in the world on the first Savage fight, M1S, is done by a Pictomancer. So all jobs, every single melee, which, as a reminder, melees are supposed to do more damage than casters by default. So Pictomancer is so insanely overtuned that it is out-DPSing every job in the game handily. And it is only after, like, every melee job in the game got buffed. Like, they gave Samurai the goddamn nuclear launch code, and they gave him 2! And Pictomancer's still, like, absolutely overtuned and cracked. So you're playing Pictomancer, the most overpowered job in the game, that does the most damage. Easily, right? No comparison. So even if you do Holy and White, even if you play improperly, guess what? You're still gonna out-DPS everybody, even people who get a higher parse than you, because you're just doing more damage than everybody else by existing. Okay? So, you know, a Pictomancer being like, well, I could move with Holy and White, but it's not optimal. First of all, it doesn't matter. And secondly, I've done that fight as Pictomancer, and you have hammer time. You have a free hammer time charge during the conga line mechanic. And here's the thing, you can easily save one. Like, it depends on how you play, obviously. And I'm not, you know, a gold parsing Pictomancer might say, actually, optimal hammer time usage. You do not. But the thing is, this guy joined a party finder with 2 casters, took the fake melee spot willingly, and then complained that he had to move. Or they had to move, I have no idea. They had to move, because they took the fake melee spot. But the thing that I was trying to set up, like, I don't know, 15 minutes ago, was that for that mechanic, even if you're taking the fake melee spot, you don't have to move. Moving is just a common courtesy, because it makes it easier on the healers. But all it takes is 2 tanks to be in the stack with whoever's getting hit, and they're gonna live. So it's like, Homie willingly took the melee spot. We did the entire fight up until that point, basically with no issue. And Homie goes into the... And then Homie sees that they're fake melee, and then they get pissed off. And then, instead of just standing in their spot and then complaining about it on the next pull, they run directly into both of the healers, into the line, so that they assassinate both the healers, and we had a black mage. And, I think the other one was Summoner, but they basically, like, forcefully wiped the group, and then they just started bitching, right? They ran into the healer spot, then they just started bitching. And they were like, why the hell do I have to move? I'm a Pictomancer. I shouldn't have to move. And it's like, first of all, you can move. You have hammer time. You have Holy and White. I don't really care about your opinion at that point. Because you can move. Trust me, buddy. You can move. I play Pictomancer too. I'm dead. Oh my god. Oh, no! So, like, trust me, buddy. You can move. Because I've done that fight as Pictomancer. And I've moved during that point. Because it's really not a problem. Like, it really is not a problem. Like, I did it just to see, like, would I lose uptime? And the answer was no. Because I was doing, like, I think your burst phase is around there, or is that the second one? I can't remember, because it happens twice, and your burst phase... Is it during both of them? I don't remember. I did that fight a few times with my static, and that, so we could get the accessories that we needed for Savage, and then we never did it again. And I only farmed EX1 in Party Finder, so I need to go back into Party Finder and do EX2. I am so in remiss right now. I got baited so hard. Don't worry, we'll ace it. And if we don't, we'll just get back here. It's pretty fine. It's not that big of a deal. But basically, they just like forcefully wiped the group by assassinating the healers. And then they started arguing with our Black Mage. And here's the thing. I have tried to play Black Mage before. It's a little too big brain for me. If you have to decide between a Pictomancer moving and a Black Mage moving, the Pictomancer is moving 100 times out of 100. I don't care. Black Mage is a stationary turret that needs to go like fire 4, 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 right? So I'm sorry, but you know, if one person is moving between a Pictomancer who has 80 million movement tools or a Black Mage, I'm saying that the Pictomancer should move. And I'm a I don't main Pictomancer yet. I'm still like a White Mage main who plays a lot of Pictomancer, but as somebody who plays a lot of Pictomancer, it's quickly becoming one of my most played jobs when I do content. You gotta realize that you have so many movement tools available to you that there really isn't any point in you trying to be like, why should I move over a Black Mage? It's like, no, you should definitely move. 100%. But they, you know, they forcefully wiped... Whoops. They forcefully... I wanted to go back home. I wanted to go back home. I wanted to take a nice leisurely stroll to my house. Thank you so much. But here's the deal, right? After assassinating the group, I don't remember if we did like another pull and then they did the exact same thing again, but they basically just kept wiping the group at conga lines and then complaining. I think they did it like 2 or 3 times, but they could have just done it once, and then that was when they got into the argument with the Black Mage and the Summoner. And here's the thing, I told them, like, hey, you don't have to move for that mechanic. Like, you literally don't have to. Like, you literally do not have to move for that mechanic. You can just stay perfectly still. It will not affect anybody negatively. We already have mitigation. The tanks and the other melees are already following the conga line. Like, it doesn't matter. The shared damage is not going to be that bad. And I told them they didn't have to move. But the Black Mage was like, I'm not moving and you took fake melee, so why are you complaining? And then they got into an argument. And listen, the Black Mage was right. 100%. The Black Mage was 100% right. The Pictomancer took fake melee. Willingly. Like, they willingly took fake melee and then complained about having to be fake melee. And so, I don't know how me describing this in as much detail as possible is like 99% of the episode, but I guess it is. I guess that's what this episode turned out to be. Whoa! Excuse me? We do not need to bust out the battle music when we're just taking a leisurely stroll to work, you know? Like, what's your problem? Oh, God. I did not know this game had a functioning playlist system. Loading up all of the, loading up all of the versus Sayu remixes because they're all revenue sharing on YouTube. And I mean, if this is revenue sharing already, might as well, right? Have some bubble trouble. But like, yeah, no. I ran into that guy multiple times, that person multiple times, and that was for the EX, but that hasn't really happened in Savage. You know, sometimes the blades are deadly, and then sometimes they're not. It's pretty cool, right? Thought I was gonna get a front row seat to my goddamn demise. But no, like, I don't really... So here's the thing. I think I was trying to make a broader point about party finders, right? I think that when I'm going into a party finder, it is all about the perspective of the party finder's goal, right? Because if the party finder has a goal that I don't want or don't like, I'm not gonna join it. You know, like, I don't really care enough to be like, okay, I'm gonna join a party finder that I don't like, and then I'm gonna complain about it. Because why would I do that, right? But I'm gonna look for a party finder that I want to join, that has a mission statement or objective that I can get behind, and then I'm gonna try to fulfill that mission objective in that party finder. And I haven't been, like, embarrassed or humbled yet, but I probably will be on some of the harder fights. I was gonna plan, I've already done M1S, and it's a great fight. M1S is absolutely fantastic, thank you, Heaven. M1S is absolutely fantastic, it's a wonderful fight. But it's a little bit frustrating going into these, like, parties that say, like, okay, we're gonna do this mechanic, and then we're gonna clear. And then you go in, and then, like, outside of marker jank or getting confused about partners, which is, like, totally understandable. Because, like, skull-crushed armor did nothing. This is like the most useless armor of all time, but it looks really cool. This is like you're wearing a level 1 glamour set as like your actual armor, and you're not just having it in the glamour dresser. This is a PvP armor set, yeah. So true, bestie. But like, okay, here's the deal, right? These cannonballs have been a little bit deadlier recently, so I've been a little bit scared about that, but probably fine. Do you think we're gonna thank you, Heaven, this jump? Hopefully not. I was planning on going into M2S today, but I was too tired, honestly. But, I'm probably gonna get humbled on M3S and definitely M4S. M4S looks really hard from what little I've seen of it. But the thing is, it's all about the perspective, I think, of the party finder, right? Is it gonna... Oh, it's not gonna dunk me into the abyss. It's all about the perspective of the party finder, you know? If I am in a party finder where it's a practice party that is practicing a mechanic, and we get to practice the fight and that mechanic occasionally, I am content with that party finder, and I will happily stay with it. If I am in a party finder that is a learning party finder, and the goal is to learn and not clear, but, like, maybe clear teehee, and we don't get anywhere close to clearing, I'm fine with that. Because I joined it. I'm completely content with that. I have no problem with that. If I'm doing any Savage content with friends or people that I'm gonna, like, see regularly, to where, like, the goal is to help someone who's not a Savage Raider clear, or the goal is to just prog with friends, then my expectations are to do that with friends, and then I have, like, no... We had, like, iframes there or something. The Knights try iframe invincibility jump roll. The secret technique that they don't want you to know. Thank you, Heaven. But if I'm in a party finder, like, okay, I joined a party finder with my friend, and I don't have anything bad to say about the actual people in that party finder. Where it was... I think it was literally... Like, obviously, I'm not gonna say their names. I think it was literally like, an actual family. Because they all had the same last name. And they were talking about, like, ordering food from each other's, like, DoorDash accounts or whatever. So I think it was, like, an actual family who plays the game together. Which, by the way, that's so cool. That's so sick as hell. You know, a little bit of, Webweaver lore. Back when I played World of Warcraft and got a hunter to level 20, I did not play that game alone. I played it with my mom. But, like, families who play MMOs together, that's awesome. Families who Savage Raid together, that's awesome. I think that's really cool. Because they were acting like a family, and they all had... Their characters all had the same last name. And if they added me as a friend... I would have accepted and I would have helped them, but they only added my friend as a friend. And he didn't really want to add more to his plate of, like, helping another group clear, because he already helps a lot of people clear Savage, so he declined. But if you added me as a friend, I would have accepted. But we joined their party, and they were, like, 2 DPS, 1 healer. I don't remember, but we joined their party, and it was like a practice mechanics to clear party. And we got in their party, and we actually got to Enrage on the first pull, and we did most of the mechanics properly without any issue. The problem was, when we got to Enrage, the boss had 25% health. And my friend and I were looking for the clear that night, and to explain how Enrages work, and anybody who's, like, really in the raiding scene, you're gonna feel like you already had your reaction that you're gonna have to that. But basically how Savage fights work is you're on a timer. You have, it depends on the fight, but for this one, you have 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes to kill the boss. Thank you, Heaven. And if you don't kill the boss within 10 minutes, the boss says, I've had enough, I don't want to play with you anymore. And then they stop messing around, and then they just kill you, right? They just instantly kill you. They just beat you to death, you know? They literally just kill you, you know? They just execute all of you, 0 to 100. There's no way to survive it. There was a funny thing that you could do in P10S, because the Enrage was a knockback that pushed you off the stage. And you could make yourself invulnerable to knockback by repairing gear. That was really, really funny. But you can't do that anymore, and that was a bug. But basically, Enrage is just like the boss kills you, you die, you restart, you do it again. And the biggest criticism of a lot of content in Endwalker and in Dawn Trail for hardcore, mid-core content. Savage is mid-core, I will die on this hill. Anyone can do Savage. 100%, I will die on this hill. Even though I have the stories that I could tell. The stories that I could tell, chat. But, I have had some people try to prove me wrong about my thesis that anyone can do Savage. I'll just leave it at that. I'll have to do, like, a tell-all someday. But, not anytime soon. But basically, the biggest criticism from the raiding community, or well, not the biggest criticism, but one of the most frequent criticisms of, like, the Endwalker tiers, and now this Dawn Trail tier, the criticism has gotten more extreme, is that the Enrage thresholds, like the boss's health, the damage in the game, is just completely messed up. Because a competent team is going to kill the boss on content, like on release. Like the amount of health that these bosses have and the amount of damage that people are doing just by just doing their basic rotation, you are missing mechanics. Like there is a mechanic that's basically the same as the normal mode version, where the boss dashes to an area and does like a big AoE, but it's represented by paw prints, by cat paw prints. It's very cute. M1S is a very cute fight. I love M1S because everything is cat themed and everything is a cat pun and a cat joke. But you know, people are killing the bosses so quickly that there are many parties that are not seeing the last mechanic in the fight, let alone the Enrage. And this is on content where our gear is so weak, which your gear determines how much damage you do and how much survivability you have. our gear is so weak that if you don't mitigate the raid wides, the healers and the casters, the people who have the lowest health in the group, will die at full health. So you can be full health, get hit by a raid wide, which is unavoidable damage, and die because your team forgot to mitigate, and that's happened to me so many times. I started when I was playing White Mage, I started saving a Divine Venison for myself every single raid wide just to make sure I wouldn't die. And if I had an extra one, which I usually did because the bosses didn't really hurt the tanks that much except during specific parts, I would usually give the the Divine Venison to a to the caster. Whee! Because you know, they would die too if somebody forgot to mitigate. So, like, that's how bad our gear is, that, like, the boss can kill us with unavoidable damage if we forget to mitigate. And so, because of that, like, our gear is so bad, but just people normally playing the game, and we're not talking, like, good play, like, okay. We need to kind of ground ourselves in reality a little bit, because how people look at parses and damage and all that is completely skewed and weird and wrong. But, like, people who are just, like, the average of the game, you know, this is, like, the average damage that somebody's gonna be doing. People at, like, an average level are doing so much damage, and this is Pictomancer's fault, by the way, because, again, Pictomancer is so ridiculously overtuned and powerful that every melee DPS had to be buffed to compensate for the fact that they just don't keep up with Pictomancer at all, and Pictomancer still out DPSs them. So there's more damage in the game right now than the developers intended there to be, because they had to make it to where, you know, the melee DPS weren't completely overshadowed by Pictomancer. They still are, because Pictomancer is still busted, but... Anyways. The fact that we got to Enrage and did most of the mechanics correctly, and the boss had 24% health left, was just, like, immediately... Like, listen, I don't use ACT. I don't have ACT. I can't see the damage numbers that people are doing. And honestly, it probably would have helped if I could, because then I could have saw if they were holding their DPS to focus on mechanics or not, and that would have informed the decision that me and my friend made. But, like, just seeing the boss be at 24% health on Enrage was like, we immediately both said in VC, this party can't clear. And then we made up an excuse and we left. And here's the thing. Again, here's the thing. I feel bad about that because I think they could clear. They would just need to either, like, work on their rotations or, like, just sort of, like, I don't know, just do their rotations better, I guess. Because, to put it into perspective, this was a relatively successful run mechanics-wise. And when you fail a mechanic, you get a damage down. So you do, like, what is it, 20% less damage? And if you die, you get, like, a stat reduction that if you die multiple times, that can stack up to you losing, like, 50% of your damage. Like, I don't know if it's your damage purely, but it's like you lose, like, 50% of your, like, strength, or, like, your damage stat for, like, a minute, you know? And every time you die, that gets refreshed. The Enrage party that I had on day 2 died, like, 16 to 15 times, and the people who were dying were the DPS, right? The Vipers were dying, the Pictomancer were dying. I don't remember who the other DPS was, but we had 2 was it a Summoner? I don't remember. We had 2 Vipers and 1 Pictomancer, and that Pictomancer was me. And in total, the DPS died like 16, 15 times, and we are not good, right? Like, we're not, like, super cracked. We're just sort of, like, playing our jobs at, like, a pretty decent level. We got the boss down to 2% in Rage. Multiple times. And we had, like, 16 plus deaths. right? Like, we were dog shit. We were dying to raid wides, we were dying to mechanics, we were getting damage downs. We were getting our asses beat. And through all of that, healer LB3, by the way, and through all of that, consistently 2% enrage, 5% enrage on the boss. And so doing the fight pretty decently, much better than that party, significantly better than that party, way less deaths. Doing that and seeing 25% enrage was the most demoralizing thing I think I had seen all night. And like I didn't have the motivation to keep going, because this was a party that was like mechanic cleanup to enrage to clear, right? I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And like my friend and I just saw that and we're like, no. Like, this party can clear, but no, we're not doing this tonight. And we both left. And only my friend got... I don't think I was mean to them in any way, but they only sent a friend request to my friend. And my friend is the one who made up the excuse to leave. And they were the first person to leave. I just said I was going to take a break, which was technically true, by the way, because we didn't get another party for like 3 hours. So I think 3 hours is technically a break, to where, like, okay, if there was a party that I could join and go in with immediately, would I have gone in immediately? And thus making my I'm taking a break statement a lie? Yes, absolutely. But here's the thing. It took us like 3 hours to get another group. So I didn't lie about taking a break. I did. I do feel a little bad about it, though. I'll admit. But, no, like, we were just, like, we just saw it, and, like, I'm never gonna shame somebody over their damage unless they're toxic, and these people were lovely. I literally don't have a bad thing to say about them, other than the fact that I just didn't really want to be in the party with them because I wanted to try to get a clear that night. And I don't even feel like their PF advertisement was a lie, you know? Because it was Enrage cleanup. It was raining cats to Enrage to clear. I know it was raining cats to Enrage, 100%. But I don't know if it was, I don't remember. I don't think we would have joined it, though, because we were going for clear parties only. Like, we ignored all practice parties. So, like, I don't know if, so I genuinely don't know, actually. I'm pretty sure clear must have been there, because we did ignore every practice party. But, like, I wonder if there's a way to, like, take the skeletons with you to the end. Like, maybe they can get shot by the laser that tracks you or something. That'd be kind of cool, actually. Like, if you put up with the risk of having the skeletons follow you, they can, like, get through the laser. The small ones can get through the laser up there. And then when you get to that room with the giant eye laser, they're like, okay. They get shot first before you do. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know if it'd be worth the risk, though, because it's not, like, actually that difficult. I'm just bad at it. But, like, again, I don't have anything bad to say about them, like, in the slightest. I would have accepted their friend request, and I would have helped them prog if I could, you know? Like, if I had a character who hadn't cleared, I would help them prog, and I would help them prog for hours, honestly. I respect it. I respect the game that they had going on. And I would have given them any advice that I could. And one of them was playing Pictomancer, so I could have actually given, like, legitimate advice because I am an okay Pictomancer. I'm not a good Pictomancer, but I'm an okay Pictomancer. I'm a good enough Pictomancer to clear that fight. That's for sure, even though I've only cleared it on White Mage, but I'm definitely good enough at a Pictomancer to clear that fight. Ah. Greed. The combination of human greed, but you know, I'm not salty about it or anything. Only my friend getting the friend request. The one bad thing I have to say about them is that I didn't get the friend request. Oh. Go, 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 go! Alright, let's try to go up the right side this time, because we've never done that before, and the episode's almost over. So if we can learn new tech, we should. Please! Let me in! Let me in! But yeah, I guess I just, like, for me, it's about what the party finder is advertised at and if it delivers. Because if it doesn't deliver, then what's the point of advertising the party finder like that? Like, you think you're just gonna get lucky? You think you're just gonna get carried? I don't know. And for what it's worth, I don't think those people falsely advertised their party, the people that I wanted the friend request from, because I think it was a completely honest party. I was just, like, thinking to myself, I'm playing a healer, not a DPS, and I'm not playing Picto mancer, so I don't think that I can carry. Like, maybe if I was playing the best Picto mancer in the world and my friend was playing the best ninja in the world, we probably could have done something. But, we weren't. Oh, that's the first time that's happened. That's the first time we've died on that. I was still in the air there, but that's okay. 33 tries, decent progress. We haven't made it past the prog point yet, though. But I haven't played the game in a while, so I'll go ahead and take that. I guess to just kind of cap off the Party Finder anecdotes, really my only opinion about Party Finders is if I get something close to the advertised experience, or it's a practice party, I don't care at all, and I will be content and happy. But if I join a Party Finder and it's like, Raining Cats prog, and then we never prog Raining Cats, yeah, I'm probably gonna be a little mad. Especially because, like, everybody's super confused about, like, because the fights are new and new strategies are coming out all the time, people are clinging to bad strategies. Like, the amount of people still using Hector markers on M1S, just use the good markers that show you where the clones go. I swear to God, being able to just type, like, A1 or A2 or, like, C3 or C4 is so much nicer than having to do, like, NSL or like, SLO or SRI, you know, like, it's so, like, south right in, north left out, etc., etc. Like, it's just so much easier to just be able to type, like, it's literally two inputs, it's A1. The clone on A is going to 1. And it also shows you how to position perfectly, because you're not positioning around the boss for the crossing, you're positioning around the clone for the crossing. So if the tank doesn't line the boss up perfectly, which is difficult to do, you at least know exactly where you need to stand because the marker's there. Ay. Anyways, I wanted a week 1 Party Finder experience, and I got a week 1 Party Finder experience. I do feel pretty good about that. I'm gonna try to... My raid is today, but what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to clear M2S in Party Finder after my raid. Because I think I can do it. I've heard it's, like, really, really easy, comparatively. Like, I think some people have said it's easier than M1S. And from what I've seen of the Hector guide so far, it does look really easy. But I haven't fully watched the Hector guide. But guess what? There are probably better strategies out now, because the fight is a little bit older now. I mean, it's still week 1, so I guess any jank is to be expected. But anyways, thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Have a good one. Bye!